Hello, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to another episode of your Daily Armor. Today's topic: who forgot to turn on the lights? See, I love playing the part of a doper, of a drug user. You're like, what? That's right, it's oddly satisfying. You play a game with unwitting suspects, and then you win. Haha, I was the police. Too bad, so sad, you're going to jail. So, like most of you, I like to win. Doesn't matter if it's baseball or video game or shooting competition, I like to win. And what makes winning more exciting is, of course, winning with friends. When I'd been in narcotics a few years, I kind of started to figure things out. I knew what information I needed to get ahead of time. I knew what types of cases that my bosses were comfortable with and which they weren't. I know what situations they were comfortable with and which ones they weren't. I picked up the lingo, like things were good. So one night, my partner and I were following up on a case. We'd been buying meth from a Hispanic male, and in order to try and identify his source of supply, right, the guy above him, we upped the amount that we were going to buy. We were trying to buy an ounce of meth. This was a significant amount for a lower level street deal. The whole purpose behind this is, again, trying to out his supplier. He shouldn't have that amount on hand, so we should be able to see somebody come to meet him. We hoped that we would get what we were looking for. And of course, when we asked for that amount, the suspect told us we'd have to wait a little bit to meet him. We're like, this is a good idea. The problem was he lived down an alley, and it was hard to see exactly what was going on back there. So we waited about an hour. He called us back. He's like, hey, I got your stuff. Go meet me back by my house. So by this time it was dark. I talked with my boss, got clearance to go into the alley with my partner. I knew it would be difficult for them to cover us back there, but we had some audio surveillance and we had our cell phones, so we're like, all right, we're good. So we got into the area, we drove down the alley. As soon as we did, it was like entering a different world. It was pitch black. Now, mind you, this is the middle of a city, a major metropolitan area, where 300 feet or 400 feet on each side, it was streetlights, right? Regular city lights. But back there, it was like the black hole. There was nothing. As we're driving down, there's broken mattresses lying next to overflowing dumpsters, broken cars on jacks, missing wheels. Again, it was like another world. So we found where his apartment was at, and we parked into a spot. About 30 seconds later, the suspect appeared, literally out of the darkness. I don't even know where he came from. We exchanged greetings. The suspect told me he was still working on getting it together and asked me to hold on for a few minutes. I was like, cool. So he left, went back to wherever he came from, and we relayed this information out to the other units that were in the area, the other police officers. We didn't get a response back, which is kind of weird. We're like, whatever. So we're just sitting there small talking, and of course we got this audio device, so we're talking through it, and all of a sudden we stopped talking and we started to look around. Because we started to get this feeling that we weren't alone, that we weren't the only ones out there. As we looked into this darkness that surrounded us, we actually started to see figures, right? Which started to acclimate to the darkness. Not even 30 seconds after that, we had both taken our guns out and laid it on our laps. We're like, okay, well, I don't know if we're going to get robbed or not, but we'll see where this goes. We kept sending out periodic text messages. No update. No response. A few minutes later, the suspect returned, and we completed our transaction. We couldn't have left that area fast enough. Hauling ass down the alley. Still figuring out or trying to figure out why we weren't receiving any text messages or any phone calls or anything. So once we got out of that alley, we laughed. Like literally laughed in relief that we'd made it out there and we're still in one piece. As soon as we got out of that alley and hit that main road, all of a sudden our phones started blowing up. Text messages, missed calls. And as we started to answer some of these, we realized something. Like we'd entered a dead zone. In the middle of the city, we'd entered this dead zone where the cell phones didn't work. The audio device didn't work. Like nothing worked. It was just a dead zone. So my boss had actually sent one of our partners in to try and find us, and he couldn't find us because he didn't know the layout, didn't know exactly where we were at. So the world was literally falling apart around us. They're freaking out, trying to figure out where we're at, what it is that's going on, and we're nowhere to be found. And then magically we appear off the grid, and like for us, like what happened? Everything's cool with us. So needless to say, we learned a lot that day. See, what I learned was this lack of communication has led to panic. Not in my world, like I was totally cool. Yeah, I felt a little uncomfortable, but hey, if it was going to go down, I was ready. That was good. But it had led to panic to those around me. Now, in this instance, it wasn't an intentional lack of communication. It was just a lack of communication. So ask yourself in your life, across your core four, your body, your being, your balance, and your business, where has your lack of communication led to panic? Panic to those around you. Panic to your business partner or your boss or your employees. Panic to your wife or your kids. Where has it led to panic? Only because of your inability to communicate. See, I invite you to consider something. When you get home and your wife is freaking out because you haven't answered your phone calls for the last 4 hours, it's not her fault. See, if you don't give someone the information that they need, eventually they will end up making something up to fill that void. So your wife being angry that you didn't respond isn't because she wants to be angry at you. It's because she's concerned about you. And maybe this period of time has been so long that it's caused her to panic. Meanwhile, in your world, everything's hunky-dory. Everything's cool. So, communication is key in your life, especially with those that are close to you. Well, that's it for today. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Warrior Guardian. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube at The Real Warrior Guardian. And for more information all about Warrior Guardian, go to warriorguardian.com. We'll see you on the next one.